Like, I want to make horror movies, but I'm too scared of the dark. Like, what?
Yeah, no story, only ketchup. It's like ketchup
Yes,
flowing.
just catch up.
Amazing. Just ketchup, exactly.
Spotlight, be my witness. Only light left in the sky. Shouting hallelujah to that podcast in the night. You get your awesome stories and your midlife crisis too. Say the world got saved, y'all, when they added something new.
Singers, weirdos, and normal people who are watching Califragalicious. This is huge because we're going to have a very special guest in today's episode. As you can tell, I love horror. That's why I'm wearing, wearing Reina Terror's t-shirt that I got in LA last year when I met her in Son of Monster Palooza, which was a horror con, my first ever horror con. And I got to have this awesome t-shirt. Check her out. She's an amazing artist. You will see. Today's guest is Joseph Mbah, a director from Arizona who specializes in action and horror movies and science fiction as well. And since I love horror, we talked a great deal of horror. And it's been my lifelong dream to share my ideas of directing and using different tools for special effects. Since I was a kid, this has been my dream to really get a professional feedback on how I would do in Hollywood. And I guess we did a very great job. So I want to thank Joseph Mbah for giving me the opportunity. Califragalicious has the chance to promote his new movie, Whispers Bind, which is going to be available very, very soon. So let's see the trailer.
What cast you out, demon? You leave this place and never return in the name of Jesus Christ!
What's wrong?
What you face, Jenny, is ancient. Even our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was tested.
This is gonna sound really weird to you, but I believe you're being hunted by a demon named Tamar. I always win.
And Joseph was very kind as he did share some backstage behind the scenes photos. And we talked about this new movie, how he got into filmmaking, and other interesting topics as well. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you're gonna enjoy it too. And let's see our conversation with Joseph. All right, welcome everyone to yet another great episode of Califragalicious Spotlight. Today's guest is Joseph Mbah, who is a multi-talented indie action, sci-fi, horror filmmaker, cinematographer, editor, producer, and actor. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a very long title, but yes, yes, it is.
I mean, you did it for yourself, and I'm honored that you're here. In the beginning of each episode, I try to introduce my guest, and I found this information about you. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you had to choose between Stallone or Schwarzenegger, you're Team Stallone, right?
Yeah, yes, 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 yes. I know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like if I met them in person, that would be a very difficult thing to do. Like it
I
would be
bet.
very difficult. Like, but because I still feel far removed from them, I'll be like, yeah, Sylvester Stallone for sure.
Yeah, and is it because of the Rambo movies?
the Rambo movies were such an impact on me as a kid.
Right.
Like like as a kid, when you watch a movie and you automatically go outside and pretend to be what you just watched,
Of course.
that like that was me with Sylvester Stallone. Then when I saw Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was like the same thing.
Right.
But I am a diehard Rambo fan. I mean, I was just so into that world, you know? So yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
Stallone
Right.
for sure. Yeah.
That's kind of like pure cinema that I'm still missing. Actually, I was thinking that maybe it's all about, like who and what you see first. My big thing was Terminator 2,
Ooh.
I'd seen
Uh-huh.
Rambo and I loved that. I loved but I think I was way younger than when I
Mm.
saw, and like LA Guns N' Roses and all these, cool one-liners. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds kind of cringy nowadays, but I
But
still,
it was
I
so
still find
cool as a kid. Yep.
that exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And so how did you, begin the idea of filming? Like when did it start uh becoming your reality, making film?
Man, so for as much of a fan as I was of these movies growing up, I'm talking right, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Jackie Chan, right?
Yes.
I never understood that people made movies.
Okay.
Like to me, growing up, I was just like everything. I didn't know who made cars. I
Yeah,
just know you
exactly.
have cars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like cars are just there. And you go to the store. I don't know who made the stuff on the shelf. I just
Fair
know they're
enough.
there, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I did not know people like made movies, like it was a thing, tangible thing a person can do,
Right.
right? So I just went through my life just normal like that. And here's the and interesting part of it is that when I was in high school, my older brother was into acting, but I didn't know, right? So I would see him bring scripts home. I didn't know what scripts were, right? It's like later on I was piecing all of this together, right? I would see him bring scripts home. I would see him go to auditions, and then even it's crazy. I just pieced it all later. I was like, he was actually like an extra and featured extra in multiple like music videos, like when MTV videos was a thing, right? So
Oh,
like
okay.
I would watch, but I still did not put it together that people did this thing.
Right.
Cool. So then, fast forward in high school, my senior year in high school, my English teacher, she put us on this project where she's like, okay, I don't want anything normal, meaning I don't want like poster board, I don't want just written book report, because the subject had to do with like your point of view, right? So
Right.
she's like, do something exciting, right? And then I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? I was trying to go into the military, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, one day it made sense because my mom, I remember it was hot that day. And my mom, I came home from school. It was in California, Palm Springs, it's hot.
Oh,
And yeah, and I went in the garage and she stopped me there in the garage. She wouldn't let me go into the house. She's like, whatever you're trying to do right now is not what you should be doing. You should try to do something that comes to you naturally, something that runs in the blood, in the family. And I was like, hey. So, but when I allowed my right, exactly.
love it.
when I when I allowed myself to think about it, I was like, wait. So I started from music because I was like, okay. I was like, my uncle is a musician. I mean, I'm in their family band. Like, I just started connecting, and then I eventually somehow landed on the fact that people made movies. And here's the thing: I watched the SWAT movie.
Yes.
Okay, and then for the first time, I actually watched the behind the scenes,
Okay.
and then I was hooked.
Because
That's what happened.
the
I
camera.
saw that a person was, yeah, it was like, it wasn't just there. It was like someone was putting this whole thing together,
Right.
right? And all of a sudden, everything just started to kind of fall together in place naturally. So what I ended up doing is I said, okay, for my senior year project, I'm gonna make a short movie. I didn't know it was called a short movie. I just said I'm gonna make a movie.
Yeah.
And I took out my notebook and I just hand wrote a script ripping off of another movie I have already seen. and then I just kind of made my own thing out of it. And then and I never wrote a script in my life, but for some reason, like everything just started making sense. Oh yeah, you need a character. Characters have dialogue, and so I just kind of mushed it all together. And then I went to my friend, and then her dad had a point and shoot digital camera.
Nice.
Long story short, before you know it, I was running around the school shooting this short film with my friends, and I had so much fun. Like I could not believe what the heck I was doing. And then the cherry on top was like when we were done and we showed it in class, it's as bad as you would imagine, probably worse. Okay. like it was so bad. But like my teachers were so impressed of the effort that we put in that she went and got the school principal to come see it. So I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what? Like I did something and it got me this much like recognition. I was like, okay, that's it. This is what I'm gonna do. So
that's when
I went home. That's when it clicked, and then I just from there it's been like filmmaking, and that's it. Yeah.
Amazing. So it might not have been that bad. I got to ask what it was all about, because I guess that our listeners are dying to know. Like, was it a school day operation, or was it something else?
Okay, so there was this movie back home in Nigeria. It was called Yellow Fever.
Okay.
Right? If someone look it up, I don't know if it's still online. The main character in the movie had like a disorder called slapingitis. Okay, it means that whenever he gets upset or nervous, right, he cannot control what his limbs do, right? So he
Wow,
ends up
that's
like
amazing.
hitting and slapping people who's around him. So I just say, okay, I was like, okay, then my character, right? I was like, my character is gonna be this character from this movie, and he's gonna have the same thing. So then I was like, okay, I'm a police officer. Like I basically almost ripped the movie off. I was like, okay, I'm a police officer, and I'm gonna try to do a traffic stop, and then the person is gonna like, make me upset, and I end up slapping the person, and then I get yelled at by my sergeant, and then I get fired, and then my wife leaves me and divorces me because I don't have a job. Like that's the whole story, and I just kind of put it all together, and that's what the movie ended up being about, is me having the slapping disorder. And get this, I also slapped my boss because he yelled at me for slapping the other person while I pulled him over. And it made sense, right?
Yeah, they should know where their places are at, right? Like, know your place,
No
boss. Exactly. And it's fantastic because this story, I can imagine that it's a superb comedy material as well as a thriller movie, like this this limb that can be controlled. And
right.
It's an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that. And actually, I'm really honored because mainly we are here to promote your upcoming movie, Whisper Bind. And let me just ask you this. So your lovely story reminded me when I was 14 and there was like Blair Witch Project out, right? So we said, okay, obviously we have to direct our version. We were at our grandma's and we went out to the garden, but only in the daylight. We said, no, we are going to go to there at night, of course, but we didn't because we were scared. Imagine like how good of a horror film director. And then we used ketchup as fake blood.
Awesome.
But my grandma was like grown up in this, extreme poverty, and she didn't understand where all the 40 liters of ketchup just gone. What the hell are you doing? So it's like 95% of the movie broad daylight. Like maybe 2% is like, just going to the garden, not even the forest, garden.
Right.
And then it's ketchup like this with, with the close-ups, and then it's done. And it was so shit. Like, I mean, I think it made the universe worse, in its entirety. It was so bad. But from that early on, I really, really found, and this is even today, one of my favorite genres, horror movies. And so sorry for the long, way of questioning, but I really want to ask, how did you find horror movies as your genre or part of your artistry?
So, well, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I really do love hearing the early stories because that you don't get talked enough about, you know. So
Exactly.
yeah, like I want to make horror movies, but I'm too scared of the
Exactly.
dark. Like what?
Yeah, no story, only ketchup. It's like ketchup
Yes,
flowing.
just catch up.
Amazing. Could just ketchup. Exactly. Yeah, that's how we operate. Yeah. So
That is, yeah, that's great.
yeah,
Oh
Hollywood
man.
should be afraid of me, I guess.
Man, man, you and I both, okay? Like catch up and slapping giants.
That's
Stop.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
I want to see that.
I mean, yeah, me too. Whew, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I got into horror movie uh just kind of out of natural instinct
Hmm.
because the stories that I tend to gravitate towards, the subject matters that interest me tend to fall into that category, you
Right.
know. um and I didn't know that officially until I worked on my very first feature film, not the one that I directed but one that someone else was directing, and I worked as a camera operator.
Hmm.
And it was like the first time I got a chance to see how a feature film is actually put together from start to finish.
Right.
And then I get to say, okay, wow, okay, so I do fall into the horror genre because, like, even when we're filming the movie, and even though I was just a camera operator, I just my unique taste and ideas were very welcomed by the director and the DP as we're kind of crafting the movie, because it was just like, oh yeah, like naturally this is what I would do, you
Right.
know. Oh, like Joe, how would you approach shooting this? And naturally I would do it like this. And then just so it's just horror, I understand it, you know, more than I do other genres, you know. And then so that's kind of how I got into it, is natural instinct. And then also when I started doing more professional work, I just kind of fell into it. And then I found out that it's just something people kept coming back to me for, so I continued doing that. But like my sweet spot is like I do horror, I do action, and then I do sci-fi, you know,
Right.
because I just, yeah, those so yeah, I guess the long story is that's how I got into it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was actual from a live set that you found you were working on this horror movie and you found out that this is one of your things that
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So please tell us some words about Whispers Bind. What what created this universe for you?
So Whispers Bank came from like a family conversation. You
Okay.
know, we were all kind of talking about, it was like a Sunday, we were all discussing about like your inner thoughts, like your inner voice, like, you know, what where does it actually come from, like what effect does your like inner voice have on the actions you take in real life. And it just kind of got me thinking, because like, we all have that voice that would tell you either like, hey, you should probably not do that,
Yeah.
and you should probably do this, and we're like, okay. Then I took it a step further. I'm like, what if your inner voice is an entity that makes a suggestion to you to do something, and if you do that, then your life becomes kind of roller coaster ride, falls off the wheel.
Right.
And so then I wrote a short film called Whispers Bind, and it was based off of the idea that whisper, that voice, inner voice came, and but instead of it just being a gentle whisper, it's a very strong suggestion. Hey, you should harm yourself, or you should harm someone else, or you should do something really bad. And then because the voice, the way it presents itself is so kind and gentle at first, it kind of grows roots within you to the point where when they're making that really, really bad suggestion, you cannot stop yourself but to commit that act. So that's kind of where the idea came from. Then I made the short film and I posted it on YouTube. And of all the stuff I posted on YouTube, like it got like, so give you an example, I'll post a video and it would get like 300 views, 100 views. That one got like 6,000 views. And
Wow.
a lot of like people comment and responding to it, and like I'm like, wow. I was very impressed by it. But to me, that was just a short film. I was done with it. I expressed that idea. I'm good. And then fast forward maybe like 2 years later, me and my wife were like talking about like what movie are we gonna make next. And we had a friend who just finished having a baby, so she was kind of talking to us about postpartum and like where her mindset was at the time after having a baby, and like what that has done to her life. And then it just kind of clicked between me and my wife. We're like, oh, what if we took this idea of this voice thing, but paired it with a woman who just had a baby? Like, where can that story go? And the ideas kind of started unfolding, and then before you know, we started writing, and then the story kind of evolved naturally and to what it has become, where it's like, okay, here's the main character. The main character has issues in her life. She's going through things. She's kind of put up a wall. She doesn't want people close because essentially whenever whoever she loves, even before the entity introduced himself, she just feel like whoever she loves ends up like either leaving or dying or just leaving her life in general. So she doesn't want relationships. She's trying to put people off. And then the entity finds that appealing and then comes and makes that gentle suggestion. She takes the suggestion without even knowing it. And then the rest of the story unfolds from there.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, actually,
yeah.
as you were I'm explaining the story, I genuinely had this thought that this would resonate to so many people because I think everyone has this voice, or like this
Right.
inner kind of whoever you're gonna call it. But
Right.
definitely, there's this short story, Yellow Wallpaper, that is all about this postpartum depression, and
Mm.
I believe that it does have some very important mental issue or mental health issue to pinpoint as well. Would you consider it as more of a thriller or a horror story?
I'll say this takes more of like a thriller,
Mhm.
but like still a horror film because the aesthetics and there's still gore, but it's not like I'm cutting people's heads off every moment. Like even the gore aspects of it, you find out that, yeah, I'm giving away this story, but it's cool. Like you find out like even the horror aspects of it takes place within her mind, you know?
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
so even the torture that she experiences at some point in the film, it didn't technically happen, you know.
I see.
So it's horror, yes, because I gotta wrap it in that umbrella, but it's like psychological thriller
Exactly.
horror. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That's what I
yeah.
felt like. Maybe, it can be both. And
Yeah.
technically speaking, it's her reality, I believe.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it is real in a way. Uh,
Yep.
and so how did you come up with the aesthetics and the whole universe? Like, were there any kind of movies or other artistic creations that impacted your choice of creating this word?
Yeah, so I had three influences throughout the course of making the movie. So we had the initial idea, which was like 2020, and
Mhm.
then when we're writing the script, which is I think 2022 or 2023, the movie Smile came out.
Yes, 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 yes.
And me and my wife watched it on Amazon, and we were like, oh wow, here it is. Like this is they obviously that's the Hollywood version, big
Yeah.
budget version, exceptionally well done movie. But like it gave us like an idea, an inspiration to like, okay, we can pull some stuff from this. Then there's like on level 1000, so we just pulled some inspiration from that film
Right.
and used it to check the work we were doing, and to help us kind of ground some of the stuff we are trying to pull off. And then visually speaking, I also, by the time we got to film the movie, I watched the first Dune movie,
Oh
and
yeah.
I liked the cinematography in that movie. And then when I found out how they did it, and visually, before I watched Dune, I was thinking of that aesthetic, and then when I watched Dune, I was like, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. And then obviously our movie became what it became is not Dune. But those are the two places that I pulled inspiration from, is Smile and then Dune. And then and then for the way that we present the world is like, me and my wife love anime.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things that we love about anime is just how they frame their shots. You know, a lot of things are in the wide shots, in the medium shots, and then very little things are in the close-ups. So when the close-ups come, they kind of grab you and makes you pay attention.
Right.
So those three things kind of helped inform the movie. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I think that I mean, we can also mention Krampus origins here, because it's also like I mean, there was this very cool shot in the other movie when Krampus is running on the roof, and it's like this dark blue winter. It has this sort of like very heavy metal kind of feeling. How did you find Krampus, and how did you come up with the origin story of it?
Okay, so the Krampus movies, so Krampus, you remember there was a Hollywood Krampus that came out, right?
Right. And there is
Okay,
Krampus
so
origins.
yes.
Mhm.
So what happened is that the guy who was the director of our Krampus, because there was the Hollywood Krampus and then there was the independent movie Krampus.
Right.
Okay, what happened was that the director, the distributor of our Krampus saw that Hollywood was making a Krampus movie, then funded our director to make his version of Hollywood Krampus.
I
That
see.
was actually, yeah, so that was actually the first movie I worked on as the camera operator,
I
right?
understand. Right. Uh-huh.
Right. So we did that movie, and then after that, there was another Krampus movie that we made, and I also worked as a camera operator. Then I got the opportunity to direct Krampus Origins,
I
and
see.
that's why Krampus Origins is in my director's resume. You know,
Exactly.
so
But
yeah.
then you did direct this movie, the
We,
Krampus origin, or you?
so Krampus, not the Krampus Hollywood, but our Krampus
Yes,
Origins. That's
exactly,
the
exactly.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So the Krampus Origins. Uh-huh.
the one that starts in the World War, and then
Yes,
yeah,
that one.
exactly.
Yes, I directed that. Yes, yes,
That's what I wanted to talk about, because I've seen both, and I just wanted to make a parallel, like uh, so you obviously there is a connection between the two in the universe, story wise,
yes,
right?
yes.
So
Uh-huh.
as the title suggests, the origins are the background story. So how did you come
Yes.
up with this background story, this origins for the Krampus?
Okay. Got it. Okay. So yeah, sorry, man. I had to clarify. I'm like, I hope they don't think I
No, no, no,
directed a
no,
horror
no, 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 no
movie.
worries, no worries. I was no, I mean, it's interesting to find the connection between the two, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the idea behind the Krampus origin story is that we looked at all the Krampus stories that we've told, and we're like, but no one has told us where he came from. You know, like, where did he come from? Like, why is he even where how did he start his journey and all of that? So that was the initial idea. And then we also looked at how Krampus has been done, and I just my take on it was, what if Krampus was took a different shape this time, where he's not just this creepy monster that comes for Christmas children? What if he was more like a general? What if he's more like a warrior type of being?
right.
And that's kind of how we ended up trying to discover his origin. And then because he's such an old creature, we had to take it back as far as we can without making it, something that we cannot realistically pull off. So we ended up with like World War. I think we did World War I or World War II,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then
exactly.
yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just when you were thinking about this, because this is what I just thought, I saw these very old-timey illustrations of Krampus, from Austria. And I always imagine, like, Krampus could have come from Oktoberfest with like beer and, like
Yep.
it's I'm going to, take away your children, but now let's drink beer. This is my
Right.
my version, the drunk
Yes.
Krampus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you thinking of, maybe there should be like a knockoff version of Krampus, like, or not knockoff, like a spin-off of, like, the drunken Krampus.
The cool thing about Krampus, honestly, I think that is such a character that you can almost go anywhere with,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like you, there's so many different types of stories that you can tell with that character, and that is why we even made the Krampus origin, because we're like, yes, there is this version of Krampus, we've all seen it, but what if Krampus existed in this era? What if
Yeah.
what if okay, because he is immortal, you can't kill him. Okay, what would Krampus look like in the future? What if is Krampus in space, in someone's
Yes,
spaceship
please. Yes.
during Christ? You see what I'm saying? So like you could definitely take Krampus and say, okay, well, Krampus, what if Krampus decided, I'm done, I quit, I wanna I to
I'm
that
gonna
for this Christmas,
focus on my career,
I'm gonna,
and my
yeah,
family. I have this accounting business going on,
right,
right?
yeah.
It's like space. Okay, so space, Christmas in space, but we see Krampus doing accountants, because he needs to, like, rush up the business. But the point is, what you rightfully pointed out is that Krampus in itself is quite a character and quite horrifying, like, even
Yes.
if he would tell me, like, he's an accountant, I would shit my pants,
I'm
like,
like,
oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
I'm
like,
like, so
all
he's
right,
gonna know. I'm like, okay, I didn't pay my taxes. I'm sorry.
like, what tax evasion, man?
Like
I,
tax evasion, like his version of tax evasion. Where I'm gonna come kill you. Please don't.
please don't. And then it's like, he's making the word and the universe, like, more law abiding, in the sense.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
nice one. And I really, I was really happy when I was reading about you, that basically you bridged a huge gap, like, and the bridges that you realize your dreams, in a way, your high school dreams, and it's fantastic. And I'm really, really, happy for you, because I think it's a dream of, millions of people, I believe. So I read somewhere, but correct me if I'm wrong, that you made this leap from independent movies to Netflix. Is that right?
Yes. So the short answer is yes, but it was not like a straightforward, like victory lap type of thing.
Right.
It was like we made our first movie, went through the whole journey, we learned a lot, and then we went to go make our second movie, and I said to myself, to my wife, and the team who was working with us at the time, I said, how we can tell that we've improved as filmmakers is that, so for example, when we made our first movie, it took us like 3 months of pounding the pavement and knocking on doors before we got a distribution deal. Like, I mean, I must have sent out like 300 plus emails, because every day I was sending out emails. And then, but versus when we made our second movie, I think I got an offer within 3 days of sending emails, you know? So that was in enough like a victory for us, because we're like, oh man, like we got a good deal. After like 3 days of trying, we closed the deal. It was great. And then it was like 6 months of like silence goes by. We don't hear from the distributor. It's like, well, is the movie ever coming out? And then one day I get a message and say, okay, the movie's coming out. We pitched it to Netflix, but they say no, they don't want it. I'm like, wow, thank you for even pitching. I didn't know you were gonna pitch to Netflix. Thanks for doing that. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So the movie came out on cable or something like that, and then we started promoting the movie, kind of like what we're doing. I'm just promoting the movie, and then maybe like 2 weeks goes by, and then I get a text from my distributor. He's like, "Hey, log into Netflix and type in Expo." I was like, huh? I was like, so I quickly like logged in, tapped in, and there was the movie. The movie was on
Wow,
Netflix.
amazing,
So
amazing.
like it's like, apparently what happened is like I think we snuck in through the back door. Like I think we hopped into Netflix on the strength of another or like one or two other movies. So it was like, hey, okay, you might not want us directly, you might not want this movie directly, but what if we give you this other movie and that other movie and this? They were like, okay, fine, we take it. So I think that's how we ended up on Netflix, and we're there for like 6 months.
So how did it feel when you first saw your movie on Netflix?
My God, what? Are you kidding me? Like what? Like
Yes.
I was like, yo, hey, like
Hey,
like look, what did you see? What I'm seeing? Like it
yes.
was so awesome because up to that point, like being in a local film market is not the biggest. Like everyone talks about being a filmmaker. I have
Right.
friends, we all do it. I did it for like 6 years before we made our first movie, and you just had the stigma of like, oh, they're just trying, they're just local filmmaker. They're just, um, but as soon as the movie came out on Netflix, it quickly changed the conversation from, oh, they're just local filmmakers to, oh, they're just filmmakers, you
Uh,
know? So they removed the local filmmaker part and just called us filmmakers. And then it kind of opened up our world more because now other people who are not in our local area started to communicate with us and talk to us. Like if I sent an email before where it would be like, hey, I'm a filmmaker and I'm trying to do this, I could just now say, hey, I'm a filmmaker and I have a movie on Netflix. I got a response,
exactly.
So it just kind of opened up doors and connections to help us further advance the career. And that was great. And I didn't care if Netflix paid me. I couldn't care less. I was just so freaking happy to be
Right.
on Netflix, So yeah,
Right.
it was it
Right.
was great, man. It was
I mean,
great.
that's the bridge I was talking about. We have time for two more questions. One is, how do you, as an artist, how do you deal with criticism? Do you have to deal with it, or it's something you accept there is, because there are good and bad feedbacks all the time, no matter what you do?
That is, I'll say something I learned early from my mom. Is that I was bad at taking criticism, and I needed to be better at it. And
Welcome to the
the
club, by the
that
way.
Yeah, man. So the older I got and the more I got into filmmaking, my film teacher also said, hey, that is just a part of the job. You have to let people tell you what they think of your job. You can't just be so precious about it. So I continued to learn that lesson and still continuing to learn that lesson because like I might make something I might think is good, but the rest of the world doesn't think that is good. I'm nobody. Who am I? Oh, you
And
made a movie on Netflix? Well, boo, it sucks. So,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, but it's still on Netflix, and this is something what you should concentrate on. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And my last question is, if you could, like a movie related thing, if you could get back and make it compulsory or like trendy again from the 80s or 90s, I'm talking about VHS era, what would you bring back to nowadays? What is that movie related thing?
I I I love 80s action. I love 80s and 90s action and I miss it. Like I really genuinely miss it. And I didn't notice the change until like later. Like things kept moving away from that style of action until much later. And now it's like oh fast cuts and punch in. Like I missed how 80s action was 80s and 90s action. It just felt more authentic and I would love to bring that back in any capacity that I can. So yeah.
I think and this would be another long conversation that I would enjoy to have with
Mm.
you. I think 80s and 90s action movies, they exactly knew what they were doing, and they were very self-reflective or self-reflexive on them. Like think of Last Action Hero, where they parody
Yes.
the whole genre, but they do it so professionally, so well.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, or the Last Scout, right, with Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Willis. This
Yep.
type of
Yep.
thing, yeah, I definitely agree with you.
I would bring it back.
Yes, please, please. Everyone is rooting for you and rooting for this, including me in the front row. Joseph, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on California Galatians. How did
Thank
you
you.
feel? How did you feel overall?
Man, I loved it. I laughed the whole time. I think this is the first podcast where I was just laughing like the whole time. So this
Really
was so
amazing. Yeah,
good.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it truly. And of course, we could have. I mean, we could be talking for like centuries, I guess. Thank you so
Mhm.
much again, and I will send you another link, and then
Okay.
for the closing thoughts. Thank you so much, Joseph, and keep being awesome. And whoever is watching this or listening to it, keep watching Whispers Bind, right? Which is
Mhm.
out when? June the 8th?
June 8th of 2026 should be out in most streaming platforms or just eventually rolling out. So yeah.
Yes. And hey, kids, watch it legally. Otherwise, Accountant Krampus will kill you.
Mm.
That's that's what this.
Accountant Krampus, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. This is how it goes. So thank you so much, and all the best, and see you soon. I'm
All
sending
right.
you a link in 2 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Bye bye.
See you soon. See you soon.
See you.